invested and what that means. We will go over the Insane Friends group after this video. And before we do that, I am going to read a little blip off of David V. Gibbs' introduction. David V. Gibbs on his introduction, where he kind of just briefly touches base, and we're going to go over that in just one brief second. Okay. One moment, please. Bear with me. Have a little bit of technical difficulties. All right. All right, the word is vested. Words have meaning. And the Constitution, you really recognize just how important words and their meanings are. So, we are going to check that out. Okay. One moment. Okay. Now, the word is invested. That's what we're going to take a look at. It's an original meaning. And that's what the Constitution was based on, is the original meaning of it. All right, here we go. David V. Gibbs says, original intent when it comes to the U.S. Constitution means seeking what the original definition of the words in this document were. Language plays an important part, as well as verbiage, in understanding the Constitution, and sometimes even a single word can mean a lot. In Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution, as well as in the beginning of Articles 2 and 3, the word vested is used. What does that mean? Douglas explains. Okay, let's see what Douglas V. Gibbs has to say about vested and what that means in a constitution and what that means to us.
Welcome to Constitution Television, Constitution Study Television. My name is Douglas V. Gibbs, and the question asked to me was, can Congress give away its power to make law to the president, to the judicial branch, or what? And the answer is no. Now, the answer comes down to language used in the Constitution. And we often don't break down the language or think about the language. Now, in Article 1, Section 1 of the U.S. Constitution, it says that all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress. All legislative powers. So, the legislative powers are the ability to make law, modify law, and repeal law. That's legislative powers. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress. So first of all, this is a part of separation of powers. all legislative powers belong to Congress. The power to make law, modify law, or repeal law technically does not belong to the judicial branch or the executive branch. Now, that doesn't mean that those branches don't do that after all anyway. Every time, the Supreme Court strikes down a law, they're repealing a law. They're acting legislatively. They're not supposed to. Every time the president uses an executive order that modifies, I remember with Obamacare, and President Obama was issuing executive orders that would change the date of when a certain part of Obamacare would go into action. Well, he was changing the law. He was modifying it. All legislative powers shall be vested in a Congress. But anyway, so the question was, can Congress give away that power? Can Congress say, you know what? We're going to give away the power to legislate. We'll let the president make some laws. So we're going to pass the law, and we're going to, decree that the president can pass laws. No, they can't. And here's why. The word vested. The word vested is like the word granted. All legislative powers that are granted, it says in there, granted being legally transferred, that says shall be vested in Congress of the United States. Why granted the first time and vested the second time? Because they're two different words. Granted, it's a legally transfer. Vested, it's a legally transfer, and it's a permanent transfer. A permanent transfer that cannot be given away. That's why the word vested was used. If you go to the second article of the Constitution, it says that the executive power is vested in the president. He can't give away the executive power. It's a permanent power vested in the president that cannot be given away. Then in the Article 3, it says that the judicial power is vested in the Supreme Court and the inferior courts that are created by Congress. Vested. Permanent transfer of power from the states to the federal court system that cannot be given away. So each branch cannot give away its powers. They are vested with them. The ability to make law has been, and make law, modify law, repeal law, has been vested in the Congress. The power to execute the law, vested in the president. The power to adjudicate, vested in the judicial branch. Permanent cannot be given away. That's what vested means. Unfortunately, we know that the critters in the federal government don't understand the Constitution or care about that language. They care about what they think is best for their power, and they're aimed to change it. But from a constitutional standpoint, they cannot give away their powers. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, my latest book, A Promise of American Liberty, is out. Check it out on Amazon. DouglasVGibbs.com, PoliticalPistachio.com, and also there's a donate button on those websites. I'm always looking for help with funding. Feel free to hit the donate button. And of course, if you're new to this page, this YouTube page, subscribe. Hit the notification so you get notified, that little bell there. Make sure that you know every time I come out with a new video. We'll see you next time. Hopefully you stay safe and, well, stay calm. We'll see you then.
Okay, now, before I change gears, I need to make it known here that David V. Gibbs.
Welcome to Constitution TV, Constitution Study Television, and I am your host, Douglas V. Gibbs. And this morning I was at a meeting, and the complaint was that California is going to do what it can to keep Trump on the ballot. In fact, you see the Hill headline, California Senate passes bill that would keep Trump off 2020 ballot unless he releases tax returns. Can California do that? And the whole table this morning says, well, yeah, that's unconstitutional. Necessarily. I read Article 2, I read Article 1, Section 4. Article 1, Section 4 says that the manners and procedures of elections are up to the state legislature when it comes to senatorial and House representative elections. It does not address elections. Presidential elections first emerge in Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. Article 2 doesn't say anything about whether or not the states are required to put all candidates.
All right, to get the rest of that, you can go to David V. as in Victor Gibbs channel. And hear the rest of that. You're also more than welcome to check out okay. You know where Moses was when the lights went out. All right. Now, we're going to have to go over the Insane Friends group, and then we will discuss this invested and the Constitution and some of the basics of the Constitution. But before we go get into all of that, I need to announce the Insane Friends group, those that are holding their Insane group broadcast from their channels. Okay, so at the top of the list we have Sunday. Sane Sunday Live at 7:30 p.m. Following, we have Gregory Salvadori, 9 p.m. Monday, we have Etard Adventures, 9 p.m. Used to be One Wheelie, or Wheelie One. But he's back to Etard Adventures, 9 p.m. on Monday. Tuesday, we have Bubba-sification. Wednesday, we have Sane Enterprise, 7:30. It's about making money, business, and that kind of thing. Then we have following Wednesday, Muscle Car Appraisal, 9 p.m. Friends of mine, we're friends here on YouTube, and Muscle Car Appraisal, they do appraisals on old cars, new cars, muscle cars, you name it, appraise it. And need a car appraisal? Check them out. And they have a very interesting channel. Then on Thursdays, we have Dorito and La Cuche. Not funny. We have Dorito and a Lucha Card, 9 p.m. Eastern Central Time or 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Following, yours truly, Easy 2 Tips and Tricks, etc., etc. At 7:30 Pacific Time or 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, not 7:30, 7 p.m. Pacific Time or 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we have following Saturday, Choppers Rule 1, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. But this is international. In Australia, he's actually going live at 9:30 Sunday morning. Then we have Saturday, Fab Automotive Detailing, 9 p.m. I believe FAB, that's FAB, Automotive Detailing, at 9 p.m. Saturday. It speaks for itself. All right, well, all these are really good channels. And don't let Etard Adventures name fool you. You might really find his channel interesting. And all of these are just really good guys. And check them out. You'll be glad you did. So, we are going over, I have some information here that I'm wanting to share, and I'll be putting it in the link afterwards. I'm having to access that information now, so that's having to boot up presently. And for those of you that drop in here after the live stream, look forward to hear from you. Looking forward to your thoughts. Hopefully this is thought-provoking on what I have to share here as soon as I can access it. My phone's booting up. We'll get to that. But I appreciate you being here. You know, truly, united we stand, united we make it happen. And, you know, you can make friends here on my channel. Go into the live stream. If you're here afterwards, if you're here during the live stream. But, you know, I try to bring something of interest, something that's thought-provoking, you know, to the table here, and keep it interesting. Rather than just come on here and stare at the screen and scratch my nose and, you know, kind of thing. Except for at the moment, I'm waiting for this to load. So, you know, I've always said, you know, we ought to make our channels, make our live streams timeless. You know, so you want good content, good content, good content. And if you to make a live stream timeless, we need to have content on those live streams that will keep them interesting and thought-provoking, or where you're learning, you know, things of that nature. And that's what makes the difference here. For the live streams, if we're just, you know, hanging out and chit-chatting, that's nice. But it's not quite the same. You know, it's not, you want it engaging. That way, you know, down the road, who's going to watch it if there's nothing there that's engaging, nothing there that makes you think, you know, that is nothing there where you're learning something. Just sitting around talking, you know, like we used to say, shooting the breeze, you know, you're just shooting the breeze. You know, who's going to kick back and watch that? Unless it's maybe someone from another country kind of learning about the culture. But how much of that is really going to be there? Okay. We are getting ready for this to load. All right, Article 1, Section 1, General Principles. Article 1, Section 1 provides all legislative powers there herein to be guaranteed. Powers herein guaranteed. Now, we keep in mind, and I'm only saying this for those that haven't thought about it like this, but words have meaning, you know. You tell your son to come here, here. You don't want him to remain where he's at, so you tell him to come here to where you are. You know, words have meaning. And when it comes to our Constitution, words in our Constitution was very carefully selected so that our rights are preserved and not trampled on. And as a society, they're preserved. And our generations to come are preserved. The life we live and have now is preserved. And there's not an abuse of power. All right, so that it keeps us out of tyranny. And we have these youngsters today that don't understand, and they're going to allow, and so they're to bring about tyranny in the future because they don't understand, and they're okay with what's going on because they don't understand, and they're not stopping to think that our Constitution was written to preserve. You know, they're being brainwashed to think, oh, those are a bunch of slave owners and this and that. And so, you know, the powers that be are tainting and twisting and deceiving, and they're going along with it because they don't really know, they don't really understand. And when they figure that out, it'll be too late. So let's see what this Article 1, Section 1 tells us. And I'll have these links in the description after the live stream. All right, legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. The Constitution first invests all federal legislative powers in a representative bicameral Congress. I didn't pronounce that right. Central to social compact, this law-making institution forms the foundation of the federal government and allows the people's representatives, we the people, our representatives, to act together for a common good. Article 1, Section 1. The farmers of the Constitution of 1789 created a powerful national legislature to represent both the people and the state. Yet they also feared its awesome power and therefore determined to limit that power in order to protect individuals' liberty. That's a mouthful. The vesting clause embodies two strategies for limiting Congress power. One strategy was to condition legislation upon the agreement of two differently constituted chambers. See the Federalist, number 51. James Madison. It's probably the Federalist Papers, because there's the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers, and they're two books. Okay. James Madison, with similar distracts and sort terms of the House Representatives, was expected to be responsive to we the people, but hashly popular measures be or kill the Senate, whose members served for longer terms and were selected by the state legislatures until enhancement of the 17th Amendment. A limited and enumerated powers as a more explicit limitation, the Constitution vests Congress only with those legislative powers that have herein granted, unlike the state legislatures that enjoy plenary authority. Congress has authority only over the subject matter specified in the Constitution, particularly in Article 1, Section 8. Early presidents and Congress took seriously last was that jurisdiction, federal government. They assumed no federal power to fund international improvements. For example, they also debated that powers might be implied by the grant of the enumerated power. Significant early debate concerned whether Congress could create a Bank of the United States. James Madison and Thomas Jefferson argued against such a power. But President Washington ultimately supported Alexander Hamilton's plans for the bank, even though the farmers had rejected the bank's incorporation as enumerated power. The Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of the bank and recognized that the enumerated power, including some implied ones. McCulloch, Maryland, 1819. This is huge. You know, we have the world bankers, Rothschild, Bilderbergers. We have these families that control the banking system. They're not even the federal, they're not federal. You know, the Federal Reserve is not federal. These bankers are running amok. That's the bottom line. And I'll put these links in the description where you can freely read them and do your own research. And I look forward to hearing from you. And we'll catch you on the rebound. So bye for now. God bless. And as I always say, never give up, because there's always a way. Always. So bye for now. I'd like to know your thoughts on this and be looking for the links. There's be about 3 links so you could do your own research. And I look forward to hearing from you. Bye for now.